Hey, welcome back into the ShopFix channel, a community joined together for the love of woodworking. The drawers of this miter saw station are one of my favorite parts, and I think I did them really well. The drawer slides are able to attach right on the edge of the cabinet because these are faceless, and so I didn't have to do anything else besides put the slide directly on the side of the cabinet and screw it in. And it was really easy to install the slides. It was time consuming, but definitely easy. So I'm using 22-inch full extension drawer slides here, and if installing these stresses you out, you can breathe now. I've got the cheat code, spacer blocks. Forget those fancy slide jigs. They're bulky, finicky, and somehow still require math. Spacer blocks, simple. Cut them to your desired drawer spacing, rest your slides on top, and boom, perfect height every time. You'll want to install the drawer slides back from the edge a bit to make sure the drawer closes tightly onto the cabinet once installed. I repeated this process to install 4 slides down one side. From there, it's as easy as flipping the cabinet and doing the exact same thing on the other side. Spacer blocks, man. Quite heroes of cabinet making. Building the drawer boxes is where this whole station really starts to take shape, and this step is equal parts precision and patience. I started by ripping all the drawer parts to size on the table saw. Once they were dimensioned, I dropped in a dado blade to cut the groove that will hold the drawer bottoms. After cutting dados into all the pieces, I raised the blade up to notch out the drawer backs. This lets the bottom panel slide perfectly in and out without interference, which allows the bottom to be replaced later on if it takes a beating. Next, over to the miter saw, where I carefully cut the front and back pieces to final length. This part has to be accurate. Off by even a 1/16th, and your drawer is either going to be stuck or doing the cha-cha every time you open it. Then comes pocket holes. So many pocket holes. I drilled 3 on each side of the drawer fronts and another 3 per side for the backs. By the time I finished drilling all these pocket holes, I was starting to wonder if I was building drawers or just trying to see how many screws a person can tolerate in one afternoon. Jokes aside, I was actually getting really excited to see these drawer boxes come together. After all that precise prep work, it felt so nice to start the assembly. I slid the slides onto the drawer bottom using the dado grooves. Then I clamped the front piece in place, pocket holes facing out. These get hidden later by the drawer face, so don't worry if it looks like Swiss cheese for now. These 90-degree clamping jigs made a huge difference in getting everything perfectly square. Without them, you'd be juggling the boards, a drill, and probably a bit of frustration. But with them, every drawer came together clean, square, and ready to slide perfectly. It's one of those small tools that quietly becomes essential. With the drawer box front installed, I dropped the drawer back into place and you guessed it, drove in more pocket screws. To lock it all in, I flipped the drawer over and drove 3 screws to the bottom into the back panel, which makes it solid as a rock. And there you have it, clean, strong drawer boxes that slide like butter and can survive years of shop abuse. One down, several to go. Once I had all 15 drawer boxes built, it was time to install them into the cabinets. Installing the drawer boxes is one of those things that looks tricky until you discover the magic of scrap wood. Instead of guessing each drawer's height or using an unnecessary jig, I just stack scrap pieces on top of the previously installed drawer. This gives me repeatable, consistent spacing without needing to measure every time. Then I extend the drawer slides out and slide the box right in. To keep things aligned, I clamp a board across the front of the cabinet, basically a temporary drawer face, so I can push the slides right up against it for that perfect flush fit. Now here's the trick to locking everything in. Slide the drawer out just until the first set of holes in the slides are visible. Drill a quick pilot hole and drive in your screws on both sides of the drawer box. Then slide the drawer box out a bit more to reveal the second hole, and drop in your next set of screws. Finally, extend the drawer nearly all the way to reach that last screw in the back. No reaching into awkward angles or fighting gravity. It's a smooth process all the way through. Once it's fully secured, just open the drawer fully, remove the scrap stack inside, and repeat the process. No jigs, no frustration, and a full set of drawer boxes gliding like butter. Now that the bones are in place, it's time to dress them up with some clean custom drawer faces. By cutting all 4 drawer fronts from the same sheet of plywood and keeping them in order, you can get a flawless grain match that flows across the entire cabinet. Once the drawer faces were sliced up on the table saw, I trimmed each piece down slightly to give it about 1/8 of an inch gap between drawer faces. Just enough space for clean reveals. Like a good suit, it's all about that tailored fit. Then it was time to mark the handles. I used a hardware jig to get consistent positioning for all the holes. But here's the trick. I don't drill all the way through here. Instead, I switched to a drilling guide that guarantees perfectly straight 90-degree holes, and I always place a scrap board underneath to avoid tear out. Getting those holes perfectly straight is actually super important for the next part. The drawer face installation method depends on it. First, line up the drawer face exactly where you want it. Then use the same drill bit to create a mark on the drawer box behind it. It's a simple trick, but it's surprisingly precise. After removing the drawer face, I can drill a clean 90-degree hole at the marks with my drilling jig. You'll want to bump up your drill bit one size larger here so that the handle's bolts have a bit of wiggle room. That adjustability gives you just enough play to fine-tune the drawer face position before locking it down. At this stage, the handle acts like a temporary clamp until you can drive in screws. Now let's talk about the spacing. I wouldn't go too tight. It may be tempting to create tighter clearances here, but you'll lose that beautiful shadow line that separates the drawers. Aim for no less than 1/8 of an inch. Any closer and the grain match starts looking like one solid board, and not in a good way. Also, always start with the top drawer face. Why? Because the top face can't extend even a hair above the cabinet, or it simply won't fit under the worktop. You've got zero clearance up there, so it's gotta be perfect. Once I'm happy with the positioning, I pull the drawer out, clamp the face in place, countersink 2 screws to the back, and lock it in for good. Well, now that the outsides are looking sharp, let's give the insides a little love by cutting out some custom drawer mats. And not by eyeballing it or using trial and error. I made a simple jig to get perfect cuts every time. After lining up the mat on top of the wooden template, I clamped it down to hold everything steady, flipped the whole thing over, and used a razor blade to cut right along the edge of the wood. The result? Clean, crisp mats that fit like they were laser cut, without any curling edges or weird gaps. Not only do they look slick, but they also keep tools from sliding around and prevent scratches on the drawer bottoms. A small detail, but one that totally elevates the look and functionality of the entire cabinet setup. With the last custom cut mat being installed, the entire drawer system is officially done. From cutting clean dados to installing custom grain match faces, I put everything I had into this part of the build, and I couldn't be happier with how it turned out.